Welcome, everyone, to the very first episode of Let's Reboot a Franchise, an educated discussions podcast. Today, I am joined with
Elmo.
We are live at my house,
Felipe's house.
And today we're going to be discussing rebooting Resistance Fall of Man. Are you familiar with this franchise?
I played one of them.
Which one?
3.
Wait, you never played the first?
I only played the 3 off a game. I only played 3 via GameFly.
I played 3 via GameFly as well. Dang, so you never played the first one.
I have a very limited selection of knowledge.
Okay. Well,
thankfully you're going to fill me in.
I am going to fill you in. I'm going to start with the brief history on Resistance and why I think this game is in need of a serious reboot. And I will discuss how I would plan to reboot this. Alright, so brief history. This was a launch game on the PlayStation 3 on November 14th, 2006. Developed by Insomniac Games. The cool thing about this franchise is it was very well known for the unique weapons. Obviously, these guys make the Ratchet & Clank series, also known for the weapons. So this carried on into a more mature first-person shooter title.
That's annoying. I had a really good connection to make, but I was unaware that they also made Ratchet & Clank.
Wait, really?
So there goes my insightful comment that I was preparing for 20 minutes from now.
All right, so this is going to be kind of like not too brief, but a summation of Resistance Fall of Man's story, okay? So pretty much what I'm going to do here is I'm going to talk about pretty much what happened in the first game, right? And then I'm going to give you my pitch as to how I would reboot this. And you tell me how it compares and contrasts to what Insomniac did way back in the day. And if you feel like this would resonate more with people. Because this game, it had it was Resistance 1, 2, and 3. And then it had a couple things on the Vita and one on PSP, I believe. So the last one, I believe, came out around 2011 or something like that. Not too, quite some time. So it's been a long time without Resistance. So I'm really, as a big fan of it, I really want it to come back. And I have some ideas on how to breathe new life into this franchise. All right. So, story of Resistance Fall of Man. In the early 1900s, pods crashed down to Earth, Russia specifically, containing an alien species called the Chimera. These insect-like creatures slowly began to infect and invade the country, wiping out human life and transforming some humans into more capable and dangerous forms of the Chimera. By 1951, most of Europe has been eliminated, leaving only a small spread-out groups of resistance. So people fighting back. The U.S. decides to send some troops to help. Sergeant Nathan Hale is one of them, and he and his team don't make it very far. They get ambushed and infected by Chimera. He is the only survivor. Instead of dying, his body actually possesses a resistance to the infection and actually gains sharper reflexes and healing abilities. As the game continues, more is learned about the Chimera and signs start showing that something isn't right with Hale. His eyes are yellow and has a strange telepathy with certain advanced Chimera throughout the game. So you see weird things where they have one of them hostage in a tank or something they're driving. His head is hurting and stuff, and you can hear he can see the Chimera inside even though it's locked up. So stuff like that is happening, right? Were you aware of this?
No.
Oh, really? Okay.
This is new information.
Well, yeah, you played Resistance 3 and that was Capelli you were playing as, not Hale. Let's see here. So anyways, that's happening. So you start noticing that he's strange, right? So I'm gonna skip to the end here.
Is this spoilers for Resistance Fall of Man?
This is spoilers for Resistance Fall of Man. Very vague spoilers. The game ends with Hale and the military finding a central nest hub, and he seemingly sacrifices himself by detonating a huge bomb to destroy the base. It appears as though the battle is won and that Hale is dead. After credit scene, he is shown wandering in the snow by himself before getting surrounded by a mysterious spec ops group. He contemplates suicide before surrendering instead, and that's how the game ends.
How much of that was in Resistance 3?
None of that. That was all.
No, I mean in terms of that material referenced.
The what?
Like, if I jumped into Resistance 3 now, how much of that info would...
There, I believe there was a... Okay, so this is kind of getting into Resistance 2 spoilers a little bit. But ultimately, Resistance 2, you know, obviously you find out at the end here that Nathan Hale is still alive. The Spec Op groups that picks him up, he becomes the leader of that group. He's really good, whatever. He's a sergeant, so he's got good leadership skills or whatever, and he now has that virus in him, you know, and so he's a little bit stronger in fashion than everybody. So you continue playing as Hale to the second game, and by the very end of it, he's getting worse and worse and worse. So like he's starting getting like, you know, veiny face and all that. His eyes are like fully yellow now. Like towards the end, they open up like a wormhole into the Chimeran homeland. So there's like this weird portal in the sky, and you can see like the Chimeran world like trying to like come in, and he's like losing it. He's like talking strange and like and then in that game we get introduced to Capelli, who's the main protagonist in Resistance 3, and ultimately, you know, Capelli is with him the whole way, and he's seeing what Hale's going through, and like he's kind of, you know, not doing things right. Capelli kills him in the end. So, and then Capelli gets discharged because of that. He killed his sergeant. Not supposed to. Obviously, they didn't see Nathan Hale turning into this Chimeran creature, talking about how beautiful the world was, the Chimeran world. And I gotta pull up that cutscene. It was kind of neat. They do reference that cutscene in Resistance 3. So none of Resistance Fallen Man, I believe, is shown in Resistance 3 from my vague memory of it 8.5 years ago, whenever it was. But they definitely, I do remember them showing the scene with Hale. I believe that's how the game starts out.
Okay.
I think it was like a fancy animated cutscene, but yes. Okay, so how did that game sound story-wise to you?
It sounded like it could be enhanced through its medium. Like you're saying, like it was a character that was going through some sort of like, not psychological trauma, but medical trauma, which would, I'm a fan of like when the video game like medium can take advantage of the fact that it's a video game. So in a way that like Rockstar, just to be vague here, can like bring in some of the, you know, trauma a player character is going through. It sounds like that would really align well with my interests. If you're looking at, hey, this dude's not feeling well, this will impact your character. And not in a Far Cry 2 way, where you're like, you gotta get like medicine, stick some IVs in your veins every so often.
It always looks painful. What I felt about that game was very cool premise. However, the majority of the cutscenes are this other lady narrating what she's like, what's going on. And it's never truly about Hale. Like, you're playing him all the time. But, like, for example, like, the game starts, in the 1900s, pods crashed containing an advanced alien life form.
When does this game take place?
Around 1951 or 2 or something like that, yeah. So, that's the only thing I didn't like. And it's always, like, they always had, like, still images. So, you never really got to focus in on these characters. It's cool scenes of Nathan Hale transforming, but you really never really got to know who he is and what he's doing there. He barely talks. Like, that's what I wanted more from. And you got a little bit more from that in Resistance 2. And then, like, him having a team to actually talk to now. Because Hale being the only survivor, like, that's it. His team gets wiped out pretty early on into the game. And then, you know, he eventually joins some military people. But for the most part, he's off doing his own stuff. So I did want more from Hale.
Now, also from this, I don't know what you want to do, but would you describe it as like attempting to be very realistic, or is it more of like this is an exaggerated example, but is he like a John Wick, or is it more of like a grounded?
It was fairly grounded. Like, clearly the aliens thing and like just some of the weapons that they had were very alien. I mean, you can shoot through walls and put up force fields and stuff with these weapons, but it was mixed with their weapons and human weapons. They just had a normal carbine, normal sniper, normal rocket launcher, but each one of those had a unique twist that they never really explained in the game. But for example, one of my favorite things that you can do in Resistance, which is was really fun to use in multiplayer. Was, well, again, with no explanation, you can shoot a rocket launcher, right? And you can stop that rocket in midair if you pressed L1 or something like that. And then that rocket, while it's stopped in midair, has like a little laser. And with the thumbstick, you can control where it's going to go. And you can literally let go and redo it. And it keeps inching along until it runs out of, like, there is a certain distance and eventually you can't do that anymore. But it was pretty lenient with what you can do. And not only can you do that, you can then press another button and then have it shoot out a whole bunch of little rockets that auto track people nearby. So a cool thing to do was, if you were at a distance...
This is multiplayer?
This is multiplayer. Okay. This is in the game too, though, in the main story. You can do this, yeah. You can shoot a rocket into a room, stop it in there, and then release those things that auto-tracks everybody in there. Wreck shot.
Some Mandalorian over here.
Yeah, pretty much. That's exactly what it looked like, too. Yeah. That little stuff shoots out. Anyways, so that was Resistance, okay? Now here's my pitch.
No, you're rebooting this, correct?
I'm rebooting.
So
this.
You're taking.
I'm being lenient. I'm trying to keep
2 and 3 are.
Yeah, it's all gone.
Irrelevant.
I'm trying to keep that core of what Resistance is, but I'm changing a lot of it. Okay. I don't have this fully ironed out. I have a lot to say here, but it's still, I'm not actually writing the game. There's a lot more that can be done and research and whatever. So I'm pretty much gonna walk you through the intro sequence of the game, right? So you can kind of get what I'm going for and how different the tone is. And you let me know what you think at the end.
That's because you're gonna get an educated.
Oh, you're gonna get an educated response.
For sure.
Yes. Okay. The game starts with an old date. Doesn't matter to me. 1912, something like that.
Oh,
right?
I was like, was he an old lady?
Oh no, an old a time date, whatever. So let's say 1912. You see the little thing pop up in the corner. A few pods from space fall onto Earth and burrow deep into the ground. So you actually see this. You don't hear a lady tell you about this. Okay? Due to older times, not many people knew what happened, and only a few crazy people, in quotes, saw it happen. So back in the day, not much cameras going on, to my knowledge. You can't really record it. Not much technology to really see what's going on, stuff falling from the sky. So only a couple people saw it. Everyone thinks they're like
Dragon Ball Z.
Kind of, sure. So since they burrow deep into the ground, they wait underground, growing and multiplying in numbers and size. But it takes time. They slowly build structures and home bases underneath the Earth. So no one sees any of this. In Resistance 1, you were able to see these structures. I don't know why no one did anything about it, but whatever. So anyways, in regards to the Chimera, they're still just a swarm of alien bugs, but their species has been around for centuries, and evolution has made certain ones be extra smart, more durable, elite, bipedal creatures. So not just bugs. They eventually, get humanoid of some sort.
So they can hold guns.
They have hands, legs, you can do a whole bunch of variety of different things, not just crawl. They still will take people's lives, though, and convert them into second-rate Chimera, which is the majority of who you're fighting. So in the first game, the Chimera, the main guys you see with the stuff on their backs to breathe, just normal, those were all people that were killed and then repurposed to be Chimera. So that's why they're kind of easy to take down versus the more advanced
there's not
ones.
A lot of originals then?
No. The true form of the Chimera apparently we never even seen yet, according to Resistance. But in this way, I'm changing it. I want you to see who these guys are. So now we get into the main character, Nathan Hale, or a different person.
Was that his original name?
His name is Nathan Hale. Yeah.
I was like, you doing Uncharted here?
No, Nathan Hale. But it could also be someone else. But for the sake of having a name to it that everyone's familiar with, let's just say Nathan Hale for now, right?
Real quick, did they have a representative in All Stars for PlayStation All Stars?
They did not.
Okay,
that was sad. But I understood.
Nathan Hale
is a family man. We never knew this. We didn't know if he had a family in the first game or not, right? To my knowledge. He has hair. He's not bald anymore. This changes the game, right?
No bandana on. He's just
no.
Hair
he has
flowing.
Hair. I don't know what hairstyle, but we'll figure that out later. So yes, he has a wife and he's got a kid. His kid is between 2 and 3. Right? I feel like that's not an age we typically see in video games. They're either babies or they're like 7. All right. So here's how the game opens up. Besides, like, the backstory of the Chimera landing or whatever. The game opens up with a beautiful walking sim-esque level of walking through a town of Hale and his family. So Hale and his family walking through town, right? And this is set around... So, yeah, I'm sorry. I forgot to mention earlier. So it starts in 1912. It also takes time for it to go. So it's going to pick up around the 1960s or some 70s, you know? So still earlier times. I don't want too many, like, smartphones and stuff distracting or whatever.
60s?
Yeah, 50s or 60s.
There are no smartphones.
I know.
You are safe.
I know.
That we know of.
Right, that we know of. You interact with some people around town and get to know how good a life he has with this family and how well he knows the town and people in it. So as you're walking through, people are going to be talking to you, oh, Nathan, hey, how's it going,
Where
man?
does this take place?
I don't know. I don't have figured that out yet.
What kind of locale am I... Like, what
Think
weather?
of...
What's the landscape like?
I'm thinking like this is the beginning and then to leave stuff open for future. I think we keep it in Europe, like how the first game was. So have it some town in Europe. Have it.
So they have accents.
Yeah, English accents.
North American.
Correct. Yeah. Just an old town. Just think of everyone in their Sunday suits. Flowers everywhere. Sure. So yeah, everyone's talking to him, saying hi to his kid, how everything's going. Hey Johnny, how is it? How's the wife? All that stuff. Just you're slowly progressing. Mm-hmm. As this is happening, a couple things subtly let the player know there have been strange occurrences. A newspaper Nathan Hale picks up to look at. Not the main story, but a little side story on the side, if you really pay attention, would say something about alien creatures spotted. Crazy lady says she sees aliens, or little things like that. So not the main focus, but something that's there. A few people were having a conversation about something they heard on the radio or sightings that they saw on their TV. Just little things that you can overhear if you're looking for it, but not really there. Not the main focus of what you're doing. Some news reports on TVs outside some shops mentioned small towns being wiped out, but not knowing why or by whom. Ultimately, his goal there is to buy something from the local pharmacy, and that ends the gameplay sequence. So it cuts to a cutscene. They eventually drive and end up back home. Okay?
Okay.
So far is what's going on. Now, this is when the Chimera attack his town. All right?
It was so nice.
It was so nice.
Let me live.
Not for long. You arrive home, and the kid wants to play. So everything's continuing. Everything's nice, right? We don't know the Chimera attacking yet. During some fun interactions with the kid, this will have some fun gameplay sequences. I'm not really sure yet, but just imagine...
I'm getting Heavy Rain vibes.
It's exactly what I'm thinking. Think of Heavy Rain and
how silly... Is the kid named Jason?
No, you won't find your kid. During this, the wife disappears for a little bit. Okay? And then some rumblings happen. An explosion happens not too far from his house. Hale searches for his wife first before checking on the commotion outside. So clearly, importance is family safety, right? Finds her in the bathroom, scared. Before he gets the chance to say anything, a Chimera busts through his front door.
Busted wide open?
He busted wide open. All right?
That doesn't mean what...
No, I know. He busted the door wide open.
I'm not sure what that slang actually means.
I've
never wanted to know.
You know what? Don't look at it.
But Chimera comes through the door.
Yeah, it comes through the door. Okay. And while this is happening, I guess we pretty much it's pods. So the crash that happened was pods, right? Pods crashing down, a bug form Chimera coming out, and some mid-tier humanoid Chimera invade the neighborhood and start exterminating everybody. Okay? So now that the Chimera's in, a brief, horror-esque close encounter with the Chimera in Hale's house forces Hale to fight back using an old melee weapon he picks up. It doesn't really matter. It might be like a stick or something, like a fire poker, something, just in the meantime. So you get to pretty much see one Chimera up close in his house, and he doesn't have any way to defend. So, During this, the wife gets caught up in the altercation and injured. Kid has a close call, but ultimately safe. It's a kid. We ain't gonna kill this kid that quickly. All right.
Do you have a gender for the children? You
got
a little girl.
Little girl. Yeah, I'm thinking to tie in with what we got.
Okay.
Little girl around 2 or so. A scary sight, though, of a couple bugs beginning to crawl on the kid adds tension, but they are taken off and killed. He ultimately finds an old handgun and he takes it with him. So now he starts the game with a weapon. Now he got rid of the first Chimera. It's a big feat to beat him, and he takes care of it. Right.
This is all cuts. Is this gameplay?
No, this is all gameplay. So when the Chimera busts the door, now you got to pick up something and then you start fighting it. But he's moving all around and it's crazy. All right. Now, due to the wife's injuries, they have to drive back into town, head back to that pharmacy to get some kind of first aid. They walk back through the same area as before when that walking sim area started, right? So the beginning of the town. But this time they see the devastation the Chimera attack had, because they've already attacked the town as well. Some of the same people you interacted with earlier are dead or dying, calling out for help. But it's too late. They're dying. And your focus is your family. The kid is crying throughout the whole level, so that adds tension and desperation as you seek medical help. You begin to see signs of panic attacks from Hale as he struggles to keep calm and focus. All right? They eventually get to the pharmacy, and while Hale struggles to find a first aid kit, he faces a few Chimera with his gun. So that's your first battle with the Chimera inside a store. So still close quarters, not outside. There's plenty of cover, all that stuff, right? He's doing okay until a few more of them close in. He begins to lose it, and his body doesn't let him move to run away. He starts shaking and breaking down. And his wife and son are hiding, so they're okay. They're off to the side, right? As Hale appears to be surrounded and is about to be killed, some help arrives and quickly kills all the Chimera. Quickly, right? They all fall and die. It appears to be the military. Follow me?
Well, you say appears. Is it actually?
It is not, but you'll see
okay.
in a second. Okay. There are large caravans and vehicles with tons of people, right? They explain to a shaken Hale that they are currently saving all the women and children as a priority force and first, and escorting them into an undisclosed military base or fort. Okay, just to save them. They find his wife and kid and take them against their will. This is for the good of everybody, but they still take them. They don't want to leave.
Do they resist?
They do resist. They do resist. But Hale does nothing to stop this. He is still not okay with what just happened. He's not used to the aliens attacking and everyone dying, okay? So he is still kind of shaken up. He knows it's for the best though, but is just not able to say anything. Not anything to his wife. He doesn't get a chance to say bye or anything, right? As the caravan leaves, he finally musters up the strength to shout, "I'll find you," or something like that. I'm not a writer. Something maybe more meaningful than that. Someone can figure that out. I'm almost done, by the way. Sorry.
No, keep doing.
Noticing his sadness and loneliness, a nearby soldier mentions they are recruiting men to help fight this threat. Determined to help fight back and get mentally stronger and physically, he decides to join with the hopes of keeping his family safe and eventually making his way back to them. He gets in one of the trucks and asks who these guys are. As they drive off, they hand him a gun and says, "Us? We are the Resistance, and we're here to take our world back."
Title card.
That's exactly what I got.
Okay.
Resistance title sequence plays. Bam. That is the intro sequence to Resistance. Your critiques.
It sounds very Last of Us Part 2. When you are walking through the settlement they have and you're Ellie, and you are walking over to go on your expedition with what's her name? Oh my god. Dina. Jesus.
Okay.
It just makes me think of that.
Okay.
Just watching people live their day, walking through.
Yep.
Until obviously the bad happens way sooner.
Oh, of course, yeah.
But I got vibes of that. Is this first person still?
This is first person.
Okay.
My idea, though, which is what I didn't like about the Resistance games, it's always in first person, even through the cutscenes. Well, actually, no, I'm sorry. That is actually wrong. That's what other first person games do. They keep you first person the whole time. Resistance, for some reason, would show Nathan Hale outside of first person when the cutscene started. And I like that because you get to actually see who you're playing as. Sometimes with the first person games, you kind of forget what you even look like,
right.
So, but I do want it to be stylistically different. So when the cutscene starts, you're still in first person, but somehow the camera finds a way to leave the first person view and pans around Hale or whoever the main character decides to be. And then it backs up. So you can get more cinematic and see the emotion in his face and all that stuff. So
are you saying...
And then the same deal when it gets back into gameplay, just like how Mortal Kombat flawlessly comes back into gameplay. Yeah. I want that to be a thing.
Shifts back into his face.
Yeah, like let's say you see a whole cutscene with him, right? He's all emotional, whatever, and then it's like, hey, we need you back outside, man. Whatever, we hear some people coming. Okay, cool. Like you see him grab the helmet, and then the camera like follows the helmet as you put it on, and then it's first person again. Stuff like that.
So he's got a helmet.
Sure.
All the time?
He is eventually.
Or is that just like... Is that like thematically what always like that is always the transition?
No, that's just an example. Maybe a gun or something that he grabs and then it transitions into a first person view of it or something.
Okay.
I want that to always be a thing. Kind of like how God of War always has that one shot camera. I want that to be a thing where the camera technically never fades in and out unless, it's appropriate for what's happening, like if he gets knocked out or something. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I always want the camera to subtly transition away so you can see this character during cutscenes.
Okay. I think Nathan needs a little more going on.
In what way?
I think he's very like this is like he doesn't seem very interesting yet.
Does he seem more interesting than he did in the original Fall of Man?
As someone who's not played the original Resistance Fall of Man.
I just explained it perfectly.
I mean, you also gave me like so much more context for him. But I think there should be a little more of like maybe what is his occupation in this small town?
Don't care. Doesn't matter.
There's just something to give him like this is like the most basic white dude.
That is
I've
what
ever
seen. That is what that intro sequence is gonna handle. You get to see what kind of a person he is, how he interacts with the people. Mm-hmm. Maybe one of the guys he talks to could be like, "Hey man, how was another late night at the mill?" or something. That again, I was gonna give you a brief summation of kind of what you're gonna see, but all the details and stuff, like I didn't describe exactly what's going on in this town, but that's
this is some white guy.
Yeah, he's a white guy. I mean, that's the thing with Nathan Hale. Games around that time, bald, middle-aged guys, white guys.
So let's break that.
I gave him hair. You heard me. I made a point. That was a bullet point.
What type of hair?
He's got a comb over.
Jason Bateman hair.
Yeah.
Let's give him Jason Bateman
that's a solid set.
I think he needs a disagreement.
What do you mean?
He needs to like see something going on and like try to get involved, like to show that he is someone who will like. He's like this is his. Like he wants to protect not only his like family, but it seemed like he got along with people, so that would show like, hey, he wants to protect the.
That's why he joins. He sees that these aliens are clearly causing some destruction here. Mm-hmm. They're not doing good. He wants to help.
What if there's like a kid, like someone threw his this is a really stupid example though. They threw his backpack in a tree. This little kid's getting bullied. He's like, I'm gonna help you, kid. Or
that's a different.
I'm gonna help you, kid.
All right. Well, what I tried to do differently, I don't know if you caught it, even though I said it a few times. Mm-hmm. He's not mentally prepared for what's going on here. Okay. Which is different than this guy who just literally experienced all of what the first and second game had to offer and never really blinked an eye. It's like, oh, giant stuff attacking. Oh, my friend just died. Whatever. I'll just keep going. Whereas he's never seen this. So there's moments where, like I said, like he's trying to overcome his anxiety. Pretty much, he's got issues. Like he's not mentally all the way there. He has a lot of doubt. There's a lot of him not be able to really say anything or help his wife in that moment. That's gonna become a persistent thing throughout the story, like him feeling terrible for himself and all that stuff. Is he
gonna do the whole "I'm getting sick"?
Yes, this intro sequence, but there will be a sequence where he gets invaded, because I did like that.
I think there should be, again, this is just a wild example. He should have a drug problem.
A drug problem?
At some point,
him having the shakes is my excuse for that.
He needs something That way...
But no, I don't think he should be a drug addict.
No, not specific. Like, that's just one example. He needs some sort of, like, character flaw. That way, when he gets the... What do we call it? The chimera bug?
Mm-hmm.
When he gets the chimera bug, there's, like, a moment of, oh, this is great. This is actually making my situation in some way better. And then there's the gradual decline again.
Yeah, I mean, again, this is just an intro sequence to kind of tell you what I'm kind of going for, not so much the whole game. I mean, there's a lot I have planned. I mean, I even had little glimpses of what 2 and 3 could be.
Well, then, okay, so what do you got next?
Well, I'm not here to talk about.
No. I want to know what journey is like. What's your end goal kind of feeling like?
Briefly.
Yeah.
Okay. Finds his way back to his wife and his kid. However, he's too far gone with the infection.
Okay.
There's no use to saving him. No one's found a cure. None of that stuff. He is still able and able to say his sorries and hug his kid one last time. All that stuff. So Nathan Hale eventually gonna die. That is the early part of Resistance 2. When he's dying, the game picks up. It's now his wife is the main character. Because she was always braver than him. And we'll
Ellen Hale.
Ellen Hale. I don't know. Just something like that, right? And then the kid gets to be the next character in Resistance 3.
This is kind of like Wolfenstein then?
I never played Wolfenstein.
Okay.
Yeah. Just some things.
Okay.
Some things I had planned. Will you have to kill Hale as the wife? I don't know. Perhaps.
Like a mercy
you
killing?
You gotta play 14 years from now when this happens.
12.
12? Okay.
12 years.
That's more believable.
Where does the gameplay then go? Like gameplay wise, what are you
Gameplay was
adding?
Straight up almost perfect from the first few. Fun first person shooting. The weapons are gonna be just as awesome and fantastical and crazy. You know, Resistance 2 added some crazier weapons. There's a gun that has a saw blade at the attached that you can shoot, and then the gimmick with that one is you can like charge it up and then have it shoot, and it just spins around people and it keeps cutting them as it goes. So stuff like that keeps getting added. And you have the hedgehog grenades.
If I can shoot through a wall, I'm good.
You can, but it's not as strong as a weapon.
No, that's all I did.
Well, yeah, it's cool.
3.
Oh, is that what you did?
Yeah, I probably used that about
the bullseye. You remember that one?
Mm-hmm.
You tag somebody and it keeps following them.
I definitely.
But did you ever use the secondary feature?
You'll have to remind me of what that is.
You put a bullseye on the ground or on the side of a car, just somewhere, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you hold it and then it like links and you hear like a little ding.
Okay.
And then you shoot and then a whole bunch of stuff goes there.
Mm-hmm.
So pretty much you can either leave that there and after a little while it blows up, or if someone touches it, it blows up.
I'm bad at using secondary.
Or
pieces. While
you charge that ball of just bullseyes flailing, you can then shoot that ball you charged up at somebody, kill them immediately. So that's what I'm saying. They had like a lot of cool, neat things. Not every weapon was amazing, but you want to keep that core of what Resistance is. Keep it first person, keep the fight between humans and Chimera, and keep those fantastic weapons. But I think you just need more, stronger story, a better main character that has more going on than just a sergeant in the military. We've seen that before, plenty of times.
So who's the antagonist? Like, is there is there like a main like?
I didn't get that far. I was just kind of rebooting the franchise, and I didn't have the whole story laid out. That's just kind of like how it starts.
Okay. Just
to kind of set a tone. This would be a much longer podcast if I told you everything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's
already longer than I wanted.
Tweet them.
I'll tweet them.
Tell them.
I'll tag Insomniac Games in this.
Find their head director. Find him.
Ted Price.
Is that okay?
Yep. I think it's still him.
Do not harass him though.
No, he's great. He's a good guy. All right, that's pretty much it. That is my pitch for Resistance: Fall of Man, a reboot.
Are you gonna keep that name too?
I'd say The Resistance is a better title.
Okay.
But I do like the Fall of Man though. It's a cool subheading.
I always wanted a game. Continue with that thought real quick. You like the
no,
subtitle?
it's a cool, Fall of Man. It sounds kind of, it's just a cool subtitle, subheading.
You could steal this, Insomniac.
Yes, please do so. And then credit me.
This part.
Okay.
I've always wanted a game where you have like a title, and then the second one is just called like I always thought of this with Destiny. I don't know why, even though I barely played
Destinies.
That. Yeah, no. The second Destiny. Just call it that, or Second Destiny.
I'm sure that's a thing somewhere.
Third Destiny. Call it the Second Resistance. I don't know why that's cool to me.
Resist this.
In all caps.
Just a fist. All right.
Go. All right, Ted. Get on it.
All right, Mr. Ted Price. You heard it here first. Educated Discussions. Episode 1 of Let's Reboot a Franchise in the wraps. Thank you, everybody, for listening. If you like what I had to say, or if you have your own ideas, please leave them in the comments below, and I will interject and tell you if you're wrong and how right I am.
And he'll put /F at the end of his comment.
-F, right?
Was it a hyphen?
It's a little hyphen, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. That way you know it's me responding. Thank you, everybody, for listening.
Keep it cool. Keep it educated.
Keep it discussions. 2006. What were you doing that day?
November 13th?
14th.
14th? Oh, well, that completely changes the story.
I knew the 13th.
I was in high school.
Okay.
I was probably, what were we in, 9th grade? 10th grade? One of those.
Ninth? Oh, 9th, yeah.
We were one of those.
Yeah.
It would be November. That's probably 10th grade. I was probably in graphic design class with this girl, Jenny, who really liked me, and we only lasted a month.
Oh.
She broke up with me. I never understood why.
She probably resisted your charm.
That was a fall of a man right there.
Anyways.
David Denman is a knockout.